3.125, right foot step, left foot slide. 3.125, left foot step, right foot slide. 3.125, right foot step, left foot slide.
Mir, thank you to be here. It's a pleasure, a pleasure. Also because, as I told you before, I met you the first time in Clubhouse was 2021?
Yes, because it was during the lockdown, right? So yeah, you're not the first person telling me so. So I met many people there, and it's funny because during those time people were like, "Oh, Clubhouse is going to disappear." They were right. But the connection, the networks, and many things that were born during those days, I think some of them still last. So it was a nice experiment.
Yeah,
right?
but also because you were like the first woman that I met in the Bitcoin, and not just like crypto, Bitcoin. But you're a Bitcoiner. Do you have like a shitcoiner past or just
Well,
Bitcoin
I can proudly say I've never been a shitcoiner. But it was easy in my case because I started being interested in Bitcoin along with Giacomo. And then I was doing my PhD, so I was like, oh, this is interesting, but it's about you. And I was doing my stuff. Then I came back later and there was Blockchain Lab, the famous and glorious Blockchain Lab in Milan. And so I started asking questions to the people working there or at the meetup, and they were all Bitcoin maximalists at that point. It wasn't a term, but I challenged them all the time about Ethereum. I strongly remember that, and I was really surprised by the fact that many of their predictions turned into reality quite soon, just like the DAO accident. They told me about that, something like that could happen. And then when it happened, I was like, oh my God, those guys maybe could be into something. And so I started focusing only on Bitcoin and asking so many questions. And I also thought there's a lot to study only about Bitcoin. Right, so I can stay on that for years and years and years, and I'm still studying a lot. So I guess at the beginning was just like a matter of selecting where to put my focus on.
Yeah, I think that be close to Peter Todd in 2014 was also not so easy.
It wasn't easy at all because plenty of those people were just, I didn't speak a single word of English. And so there was the linguistic barrier, the technology barrier. I was coming from a completely different field, but I was strongly motivated. And also, I mean, Peter is also famous because his take and his jokes are very complicated and convoluted. So I had to keep up with all this stuff. But I always tell Peter, thank you so much because of you, I've learned English, I learned about Bitcoin, I learned about absurdity, I learned about so many things. And right now, you really get my journey easier at this point because it was crazy. I didn't understand a single word, but I keep up. I was, you have to imagine, I have this notebook and I was just writing there words. And then during the night, studying to keep up, to catch up with everything every day. And I love to say that I'm sleeping more now that I have kids than in the past because I was so motivated and I had this passion and this fire to learn everything. Yes, that I basically didn't sleep for many, many months until I was kind of ready to understand at least 20% of the things that people were telling around me. And and I was really, really determined. And so I was also very lucky to never be a shitcoiner because I didn't waste my time, I didn't waste my value, I didn't waste a lot because of the people around me that basically most of them they wasted those energy.
I can say so. I can confirm. And may I ask, what's your background?
Wow, it's a very complicated question. So where I can start? Well, at least from university, I have a degree in communication and linguistics, and then I also have a degree in musicology, and I have been a vocal coach and a singer for more than 10 years in my life.
Wow.
I've done a PhD in musicology too. So at that moment of my life, I was thinking that music, I wanted to specialize in everything about music. And then while I was doing my PhD, Bitcoin came and I was like, oh God, this is history in the making. I want to be part of it. And I really loved technology since I was a kid. And now it's my turn, because when I was 19, I was about to enroll into computer science.
Oh, wow.
But I stopped because many people told me, you're a woman, you're not supposed to do something like that. In high school, you have done classical studies, and you should do something around the humanities. And I listened to that. But of course, I was in my free time. It was funny because I was studying communication and music. And in my free time, I was doing just like BitTorrent, just like learning.
Your nerd part.
Yeah, I needed that so much. So when Bitcoin arrived to my life, after some time, I was, okay, I think it's time to focus on this. And it has been 10 years that's my main focus. But I always find a way to put what I learned in the past into Bitcoin too, and the opposite is also true. So one of the last things that really surprised me that I wasn't singing since a long time, but because of Bitcoin and the Satoshi Nakamoto concert, now I even sing because of Bitcoin again. And Bitcoiners are great players to sing with. I discovered even that, which is amazing.
Wow, you know what? This is really interesting because now just let me ask you, did you have to choose between your old passion and Bitcoin? And I'm asking you this because now you are talking about, I don't know if it's the right translation, multi-potential, so like people with more than one passion,
Right.
skills, ability. So you had to choose or like, maybe I can dedicate like 75% to Bitcoin, 25% to other things. How did you manage this, and how this is correlated to Bitcoin?
Absolutely. Where I start? So when I met Bitcoin, I was enthusiastic, but at the same time, it was a crisis for me because I was only focused on music, and I thought that was my life forever. But I had to realize I was getting sadder and sadder every day. So it was very difficult. So at the beginning, I was doing the two things in parallel, and then I decided only to focus on Bitcoin. And every day I was happier and happier and happier. And my first idea was, okay, I found my stuff and that's it. Actually, then after some time, I realized that Bitcoin is really multidisciplinary, which is great. This is why I like it so much, because I can study so many different things, and it's just this giant rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And this is the first point. And the other was just during the lockdown, I realized what I'm doing on my free time, because there is always a good indication on what you are passionate about on your free time, leisure time, the otium, just like the Latin said. It's a very important time that can give you very strong indication about you. And I was doing just like crazy things. I had this idea of knowing about every single discipline and fields in the world, and so basically it was noseology, and I was like, oh my god, I want to explore so many things. I cannot stuck to one thing. And then I came back to the concept of polymathy and multipotentiality, and I decided, oh my god, this is perfect for me to discuss about that. But it's also perfect to share my journey with other people, because I can't find a proper literature on the topic. So maybe if I grow and find other people on this journey, we can grow along together as a community. So I started creating some content on that topic, and without any other motivation. And in the meantime, the term was quite popular, so multipotenziale. in Italian also became almost a bad word. And in the end, which is okay, just like being a Bitcoiner. At the beginning, it's just
I'm a trader, I'm an influencer.
It's
there is
like
always,
you're being ignored.
The
and
blockchain, crypto.
It's just like that. It's just like that. So you have to wait. Right now, it's almost a bad word, but I stay with the word because it's the most shared. There are plenty of other words with similar meaning. The main idea is you don't focus on only one thing in your life from the very early age, and you keep continuing narrowing down your knowledge and your effort and your job in that field, but you can evaluate other fields. So that's the basic idea. And one distinction that I made, that I found after studying a lot, is that a multi-potentialite person is just a person with a potential.
All right.
I think it's very important to focus on that. It doesn't mean you are a great person. It only means that you have this sort of capabilities, skill and possibilities, preferences, while being a polymath means that you already succeed in many fields of knowledge. You are Leonardo da Vinci, you reached the excellence in many different fields. And this is like the exception, right? So the majority of people is just like have the potential to do stuff, but reaching even the excellence in one field should be enough.
We are not Elon Musk. It's pretty difficult to be like him.
It's definitely a modern type of polymath. If you see the modern type of polymath tend to be entrepreneurs, just like I think himself or just Branson. So yes, there is this correlation. Of course, in the past was very different. And I think also, as I was telling you yesterday, that specialization is a great thing. I love expert, I love professional, makes my life easier and better. But still, right now it's just like the only way we can do everything. This is why I like to talk about the opposite. I feel that I am more on the center of the spectrum because I have been a specialist, so I can also, what I'm doing is basically talking in a very focused way about multi-potentiality, right? So it's just like I'm very focused in the end. And I think that there is a space for that too, and it's very important. But for most of the people, they can get the full happiness, they can get the full even advantages, economically speaking. They can get the best of them, stay in that paradigm. We were talking before also about Harari. And Harari, for example, many times says that the only certain about the future is that we are going to change our job, we are going to change ourselves so many times. So a person that is flexible and have many skills, many identities, many things, and are ready and flexible to change is going to win in the long term. So it's very important, even if you feel I'm a complete specialist in my field, to just cultivate something else. I feel that it's a sort of insurance for the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good way to see that. Yeah. Now the camera is killing me, but the last question. So.
Sorry.
You are fine. Can we record? All right. Yeah. Thank you. Last question. You lived in Lugano. You lived in El Salvador for some months.
Yep.
Difference between legal tender de facto, which is better? Are they good or good marketing?
So I have been in El Salvador for 2 months, living there in El Zonte. So of course I paid a lot of things with the Lightning. Lightning works, guys. I paid services and products and groceries, everything with that. Yes, also in a non-custodial way. But it's well known that the area that accepts Bitcoin is not spread all over the country. So the legal tender is far from being a total reality. and many people still don't know about Bitcoin, but there are experiments just like Berlin is another city that right now you can pay everything with Bitcoin, and is a strong circular economy outside Zonte. You can pay for almost everything in Bitcoin there too, which is great. It shows that it's spreading around also in El Salvador. And also we have to remember that El Salvador, everything was grassroots from people there and the local. While in Lugano, everything we have, it's with the help of the municipality, and so it's just like from the top to
it's
the
so
bottom.
Strange that, I mean, they are completely different. I mean, El Salvador, like third world, and Lugano.
Absolutely, it's different, but the situation is kind of similar, because you enter in shops in Lugano and you ask them, do you accept Bitcoin? And they are like,
my God.
Yeah, this is the first time somebody is asking me, so let me ask for the person that know how to do that. And so the situation in the end is kind of similar, but I would say that the main difference is that even in this small area of El Salvador, there is a circular economy. So you pay for Bitcoin and the people are paid in Bitcoin to get those. So it's, the sats are circulating. While in Lugano, they are still there, but it's very early for Lugano. And I think it's a net positive as a marketing for sure, but also for Bitcoiner, and the idea of living all in Bitcoin can be possible in Lugano. It would be tough. I've seen an experiment from a podcaster, and it was almost impossible. But I think that
maybe not so cheap, because Lugano is not the cheapest city.
Cheap.
But
if you want to save your sats, is not a good idea.
Maybe in El Salvador is cheaper than
especially services, they are definitely cheaper. But Lugano is so close to us as an Italian, so go there and verify by yourself. It's more difficult to go to El Salvador, so you have to trust me probably more on that.
Definitely. Mir, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Now we are gonna listen your speech.
Ready. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
3.125.